From Grove Studios in Ypsilanti, it's another edition of Acoustic Alternatives. Grove Studios, highly recommended for those in the Detroit and Ann Arbor area who are looking for a place to practice. If you're a band or even a DJ, podcaster perhaps, like myself, you can rent space here 24/7, keypad operation, easy to get into, and very affordable. And the folks here at Grove are super nice to me. Get out of the garage and get into the studios, what they say. And I'm happy to call this my podcast home. Also happy to welcome back for a second time to the podcast. My dear friend Rachael Davis is here. Hello, Rachael.
Hey, Bommarito.
How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
Everything's all right, post-holiday stuff. Just getting through this time of year and looking ahead to January, where I see you are returning to my favorite venue in the world, where you've already played recently.
Yeah.
January 27th. An unusual show as part of the Folk Festival. Normally, last decade or so, they've been doing two at the Hill. This time it's one at the Arc, one at the Hill.
Yeah.
And this is a banjo fest that you are part of. It includes Valerie June, Tao. Is that how she says her name? Tao.
How do you spell it?
T-H-A-O. Tao. Tao.
Yeah.
Tao.
Yeah. Yep.
Yasmin Williams, who I actually checked out earlier today.
Amazing.
Playing guitar. Holy moly.
Yes.
Wow, she's really
amazing. Yasmin, what's your last name?
Williams.
Yasmin Williams, yep. Holy crap. Look her up on the internet.
You.
And me.
My good friend, and Rachael Davis is here to play music on the banjo, specifically because she's coming to play banjo tunes on that day. So let's jump right into a song, actually. Let's knock things over in the process.
Right.
What song would you like to start with?
Well, why don't I play an original tune for you?
I love that. What is it?
All right, this is called Sweetwater Sea. If you wonder why I sing so sad, well, I have a story to tell. How I left my home for the war in Vietnam, and the girl that I love so well, well, I thought that I'd found my love, but it just was not to be, for the cruel fates took an awful turn, and the blame fell all on me. Now I never will see her again, Lord, Lord. No, I never will see her again. At the urge of her father's threat, I enlisted in a war, and I left the banks of the Sweetwater Seas to go and live on a salty shore. All the letters from my heart, they were posted all in vain, for her father found them before they reached her sight, and he stole them all away. Now I never will see her again, Lord, Lord. No, I never will see her again. More than 30 years have gone, and I often sit and dream of the pretty little girl that I left behind. Does she still remember me? Now I never will see her again, Lord, Lord. No, I never will see her again. Said I never will see her again, Lord, Lord. No, I never will see her again. There it is.
Sweetwater Sea, Rachael Davis on Acoustic Alternatives. She was guest number 20 on the show back in July of 2021, and now she's guest number 45. a year and a half later. You actually did that one last time. The only one you played on banjo. You played guitar otherwise. So people who are just finding out about you today for some reason, go back and watch the old ones. See her play guitar and some other songs. And today, again, we're just focusing on the banjo because of a specific event and the fact that this is part of who you are.
Yes. Oh, big time.
It's like not the first instrument I learned when I went back and listened to what we talked about last time. Piano was your first instrument.
Piano was my first instrument when I was 9 years old. But then when I was 13, I got a guitar for Christmas and started taking guitar lessons. You know, I'm from a musical family, and everybody around me played guitar, played a stringed instrument of a kind. And I wanted to learn a stringed instrument. And it was like, oh, well, guitar, no brainer. That's what everybody does. And I started taking guitar lessons, and it was so hard. And I had this it was like this big plywood guitar with this big fat neck and these huge nylon strings. And I was just a little tiny thing. And it was really hard to play. In one sense that it was just physically hard to play, but in the other sense that I knew what it was supposed to sound like because I'm around it all the time.
Sure.
And I couldn't make it sound like that, and it was frustrating. And so my dad, who's a clawhammer banjo player, he figured, he saw what the problem was. It was probably that it was hard for my left hand to play the chords and to press the strings down. And so I'm sure what he was thinking was, what he said to me is, he's like, I bet you're a banjo player. He's like, why don't we try the banjo? And I'm sure what he was thinking was, if you look at the banjo, the neck is a lot skinnier. There's less strings. The strings are really light. And I bet you that was where that came from. But he's a clawhammer banjo player. We don't do the 3-finger style. I've never learned that kind, even though I still want to at some point. But I just play the Appalachian style. Clawhammer, or frailing is another word for it, or overhand, I've heard it called. And so he sat me down in the corner chair in the living room of my parents' house, and he put this banjo in my lap. This banjo that I have right now, today, was his banjo that he learned on. And he got it at Elderly Instruments in like the late 70s, I think. And when I was little, when I was like a baby till I was 6, we lived in Chicago in a 2-flat apartment in Gompers Park area of Chicago. And there was a live music venue that my parents helped with near there. It was called Hog Eye. Hog Eye. It was a music store, and they also did concerts. And people from their Michigan community, because both my parents are Spartans, they knew a lot of Michigan musicians. And when they would come to Chicago to play Hog Eye, they would stay at our house. And I remember being 3 years old and sitting on the floor between my dad and Joel Mabus, and Joel teaching my dad clawhammer banjo. And this instrument that he put in my lap, my dad put in my lap at this moment of him being like, I bet you're a banjo player, was that same instrument. And he put it in my lap, and he taught me the fundamentals of clawhammer. And from that moment, I could tell the whole story of the fundamentals of clawhammer if you would like me to, because I do definitely tell the story on stage, just because it's about, like, there's a whole, it covers a lot, It's like he's the traditional sound of clawhammer banjo is, my dad calls it the bum ditty. It's like, that's the sound when you think of clawhammer banjo. But it's not that. You have to learn this 1-2 before you get to the 1-1-2-1-1. So the first thing my dad taught me first is how to make the claw, where you curl your fingers under and you stick your thumb out, and that you're not plucking the strings, you're pressing on them. You're pressing them down with your fingernail or with the back of your finger, either your index finger or your middle finger. You can do it either way, and your knuckles are kind of like rapping on the head of the banjo when they come down, which is the hammer part, I guess. And then your thumb and the palm of your hand are coming down on the 5th string, which is actually the highest string. So when you strum the strings of the banjo in order, it sounds like this. And so the high string is the drone that is the 2 many times, all the time, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. And when you press down on the string, when you lift up your hand, you kind of squeeze the top string a little bit, and it hooks under that high string, and it makes a plucking sound. So the 1-2 is the pressing down with the fingernail, and then the lifting up with your thumb. And my dad said, do this 1, 2, and do it on every string. And he said, do that until you can go. And I'd been watching my dad do this for so long that I was like, no problem. Like, I could do this. No problem.
Looks easy.
It looks right. It looks fine. I could totally do that. And then I tried it, and it was like my brain shut down. Like, all of the electrical impulses in your brain just go, and I was like, oh my God, this is so hard. And it was really hard to figure it out. And a bonus, though, is like I teach ukulele and banjo lessons in Nashville, where we live now. And if you want to learn the banjo and you already play an instrument with your strum, you have to unlearn the strum because there's nowhere are those mechanics present in clawhammer. And so because I didn't have the strum already, I was maybe a little bit ahead. There was ahead of the curve there. But I tried. It was so hard to do it. And I started like this. In my brain, there was smoke coming out of my ears. And it was like just baking my noodle. And it was spring break. I remember this specifically what time of year it was because we had a whole break from school for like 2 weeks. And the entire time, I sat in the living room of my parents' house at 13 years old and went...
Determined.
For hours and hours and hours until I got a little bit faster. But hitting every string in the middle was really hard. And I couldn't do it every time. And then I finally figured that out and I could get faster, faster, faster. And I was in the living room toward the end of spring break doing this, and my mom was in the kitchen. And she, it was a nice day outside. It was one of the first nice days of spring. And, she was like, it's a really nice day. Maybe you should do that outside. Please. Could you do that in the yard? And so I went into the backyard, and my parents had this beautiful, the house I grew up in, this beautiful crabapple tree with these pink blossoms on it. And it's like my favorite part of spring is like my bedroom window faced this tree. So in the springtime when the crabapple tree would bloom, my room would just reflected pink. And I was sitting under the tree, and I noticed that it was blooming, and I could hear the bees buzzing. And the thing my dad had told me is do that 1-2, practice that 1-2 until you can do it without thinking about it, because that's where it clicks. And once you do that, I will teach you a song. So he didn't even teach me the left hand until I could do this. And I was sitting under the tree, and I was doing this, and I was looking at the crabapple tree and listening to the bees, and I realized that I was doing it without thinking about it and with thinking about something else. And I was so excited. I'm like, there it was. It clicked in that moment. And so I ran inside the house, and I said, Bunce. My dad is David Bunce, and I'm the oldest of 4. And when we were little, he said, call him Bunce because there are too many guys named Dad. And so I was like, Bunce, check it out. And like, I did the thing. And then he like tried to ask me a joke or like tried to say something to me that I could answer while I was still doing that. And if I could answer without stopping, he would say that I was ready. And I succeeded. And he was like, okay, you're ready. And he taught me the first old-timey song that I learned on the banjo. And I can play right now for you if you like. This is a traditional old-time fiddle banjo song. And it's called Angeline the Baker. And it was the very first song I ever played on the banjo. Angeline the Baker, Angeline the Baker, Angeline, Angeline, I love you, Angeline. The first time I saw her was at the county fair. Her daddy chased me halfway home, told Angeline Baker, Angeline Baker, Angeline, Angeline, love you, Angeline. She won't do the baking because she is so stout. She's so sweet, the honeybees all swarm around her mouth. Angeline Baker, Angeline Baker, Angeline, Angeline, I love you, Angeline. Angeline Baker, Angeline Baker, Angeline, Angeline, I love you, Angeline. Angeline Baker, Angeline Baker, Angeline, Angeline, I love you, Angeline. Angeline Baker.
There it is, Rachael Davis.
There it is.
On Acoustic Alternatives here at Grove Studios in Ypsilanti. Grove Studios, again, a podcast, a band practice studio, a DJ practice studio. Excellent spot to think about renting if you're looking for a place. And when you were here a year and a half ago, I had a sponsor, David Palmer, when we had professional 2-camera angles and people could see you playing.
Oh, yeah.
So I apologize for those of you watching this one first. There is only one camera and we can't watch the claw hammer. If there was a sponsor out there that was interested in sponsoring future episodes, you've missed out on sponsoring Glenn Phillips, Haywood Banks,
Whoa.
all these other cool people have been.
Holy crap.
I know, some fun people have been. But I'm really excited to have Rachael here to play songs on the banjo and talk about this really cool gig that's coming up now. How did you get invited to be part of this?
Listen to this. This is the coolest story. At the beginning of October, I was out in Sisters, Oregon, playing the Sisters Fest with the Sweetwater Warblers, my other band. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, my flights back to Nashville had me in a layover in Detroit. And so it was during the World Series. No, it was during the playoffs, I remember, because I was watching like the Padres game or something. And I was boarding the plane. I had my banjo on me. And I was boarding the plane, and I was giving like my boarding pass to the ticket lady, and I feel somebody squeeze my shoulder, and I turn around, and it's Anya Sigland from the Ark.
Nice.
And she's going to Nashville for this conference thing that's happening, and it's like, oh my gosh, you're on this flight. What are you doing here? And she's like, I'm going to Nashville, and I'm like, I'm coming back from Sisters Fest. And when we got to it was a later flight, so when we got to the Nashville airport, we were waiting for our bags. There was nobody else around, and Anya and I were just chatting, and she said, now I got this idea. Tell me what you think about this. And she told me, like the Ann Arbor Folk Festival has had a break the last couple of years. 2 years ago it was pandemic. Last year they had to cancel it at the last minute.
I hated that.
It was such a bummer. I was so excited. The Warblers were scheduled to play for that one. And so this year, instead of doing 2 days, they were going to just do 1 day to kind of get the ball rolling again. But she said she had this idea to do a women's banjo fest at the Ark, or the Friday of the Ann Arbor Folk Festival weekend. And if she did something like that, would I be interested in it? And I was like, yes.
You have your banjo on your shoulder at the time.
I'm carrying my banjo through the airport, collecting stares from everyone I walk by. Yeah. And she was like, what do you think about that? And she was thinking, there's all these awesome lady banjo players out there right now. There's like Abigail Washburn and Allie Russell and Valerie June and like all of these really cool lady banjo players. And she was like, I would love to like send a note out to everybody and see who's available, kind of. And I was like, just tell me, man. He's like, I'm like, you've got my agent's information, and like just reach out. I'm in. I told my agent, Ryan, to be on the lookout for her email. And she was going to be, I told him about that I ran into her and she was talking about this banjo thing. And that she asked me if I wanted to do it. And I said, yeah. And so to be on the lookout for her email about it. And she wrote him like the next week. And so this was like in October. So yeah, and that it came about, and she started planning it and seeing who was available. And then I remember when I heard Valerie June was on the bill. She was the next person that was on the bill, and I was so excited because I'd seen her play at festivals and stuff for years. And I also think she's a total badass. And then I heard these other women instrumentalists, and I didn't know their names, but I looked them up and was totally blown away. And I'm so excited to play this.
It started with you.
Yes. Yes.
So somehow I thought it probably started with Valerie and they built it from there down.
No, it was running into Anya in the Detroit airport.
That's awesome. Yeah. Congratulations.
Yeah.
And thank you, Anya, if you happen to be listening or watching, for making that happen with Rachael as the centerpiece, in my opinion. The artist, the one that would draw me to the Ark more than the other three anyway. And I'm not saying that just because you're here. That's an absolute truth. That's a really cool story. Well, you have played the festival before back in 2003. Taj Mahal was the headliner that
Yes.
year. Long time ago.
Holy cow, that was a long time ago, eh?
You haven't played since, and you were supposed to play earlier this year.
Yep.
Which got canceled. That was a really great lineup, too. I looked at that lineup and I'm so excited. They finally get to play. Sweetwater Warblers were on the lineup with all
Finally. I know we were feeling that, too.
All these great artists were up there. I'm like, this is the best lineup for Saturday night in so long. And then...
Yeah, that was very disappointing.
It was. So I was a little disappointed that they didn't actually reconsider that for one of the nights of this year's festival, just because they rebooked Patty Griffin, for instance.
Yeah.
Have you played with Patty before?
Never.
What's the problem with that?
I don't know. I hope it happens someday. She's one of my main inspirations.
I remember reading something before I saw you at 20 Front Street, and somebody had asked you 3 influential albums or something like that, and I was expecting the ones I'd seen before, the ones your dad gave you in the jazz category, and there was Living with Ghosts.
Yes.
I'm like, finally, I didn't even think to ask you that question ever before.
Big time.
And it's one of my favorite of that genre as well. It's just it's a perfect album.
Yep. It came out when I was 16 too, so it was right in that time when I started writing songs and playing guitar and writing songs, and so it was just the timing, but also the content of it, and it transported me.
I'm surprised that the folk festival back in 2003 didn't do what it does for a lot of people and catapult you to the playing regularly there. I mean, now you do play fairly regularly there.
And I did. And at that time, I lived out east.
Yeah, you're Boston.
In 2003, I lived in Boston. So I wasn't around as much as I was farther away. I mean, I live in Nashville now, but it's way closer than Boston. It was.
And you make frequent trips to Michigan for family.
Yeah, yeah. And we're here. I mean, I counted actually how many times I've been up here this year because Dominic, my husband, he's been on tour this whole year with rock and roll band all over the world. And he hasn't been up here since last Christmas. And he was like, how many times have you been up here this year? And I'm like, let me count. And it was 8 times I've been up here. And I know the route between Nashville and in northern Michigan with my eyes closed, basically. But I wouldn't do that. That's dangerous.
Yes, please don't. I didn't realize it had been, until I looked it up, I didn't realize it had been 10 years since you moved away.
I know. I can't believe it's been 10 years either. It doesn't feel like that long at all.
I remember doing an interview with you at one of my Dearborn station, WHFR.
Yes.
And you said at the time, you let me know, oh, yeah, Dominic's at Jack's house and they're listening right now.
Yeah.
So Jack White's listening to me right now. Pretty awesome, I think.
They were listening. Oh, yeah, because it was the Ann Arbor, what was it called? The Calnovers?
Oh, that was WHFR, actually.
HFR.
WHFR,
oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. When we did the fund, remember when we did the fund drive?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that was so fun.
You have been part of a lot of my best radio memories, so I appreciate that you've come back and made a second visit to the podcast.
We've had a lot of fun, huh?
We have a lot of fun, and I appreciate all of it. It's something for me to smile about and look forward to for sure. And I always enjoy exploring your stories, hearing the new ones. And you've told the banjo story and how you discovered banjo on stage.
Yes.
Last time I saw you, in fact. And then afterwards you whispered in my ear that you were playing this thing on Friday.
I was like, and I was...
Don't tell anybody.
Yeah, that was the middle of November, and they were going to announce it the following week. And I couldn't say anything, and I was just like... wanted to tell everybody this cool thing was happening. And so I was like, there's something cool happening here that I can't talk about.
I kept it quiet. I didn't tell anybody. It was a pretty easy secret for me to keep because it wasn't mine to tell. Right?
Exactly.
So we did talk about the fact that piano was your first instrument. Banjo came along as part of your history. as just stringed instrument leading to guitar eventually.
Yeah.
We've talked about your history in the past, so if you want to find out a little bit more about Rachel's backstory, watch or listen to the other podcast. 'Cause it's all, I don't want to rehash.
I told all that stuff before.
We did. I was thinking about these. One other thing we talked about in that other podcast, and I finally remembered to look for the soundtrack to Dead Ringer 4, and there isn't one.
Oh, Dead Rising.
Dead Rising, excuse me.
Yeah.
There isn't one that you can purchase. You can only stream it.
You can only stream it. And I think that it was on iTunes for the longest time, and I don't even know if it's there anymore. I think I had a hard time finding it recently.
I looked yesterday. It's not there.
And it's been enough years now so that if I wanted to, I could make my own versions of those songs.
That was actually the question I was going to ask. Were those songs going to surface on something?
They could. They probably should. I feel like, because I talk about them enough. And they're really awesome songs. Like they're kitschy. They definitely fit in a specific genre, but they're fun. They're really fun songs. So maybe I should do that.
I mean, you need a new record. It's time.
It is so time. And it's been a slow rollout. I have like a plan. I've got a producer lined up. I'm working on songs, but the songwriting thing has been hard these last few years to find space to do that with two little kids and at one point we were all locked down together, so there wasn't really anywhere to go, and then other times I'm home with kids or I'm traveling with kids doing my stuff. Well, Dominic is on the road on the Rock and Roll Express.
Yeah, but he's making good money, I'm sure, and bringing home the bacon.
And he's having fun out there. It's exciting.
It is exciting.
It's exciting to watch him out there in the big wide world.
When I see his posts, I'm like, yeah, go Dominic.
Yeah.
It's really awesome.
I'm proud of that guy.
I am too. He's more, he's a little closer to you than he is to me. But
a little bit.
He's always been very kind to me. Like, when I see him, he does tell me stories about, I've been working on such and such.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I always love to hear his stories. Almost sad that he wasn't here today, but I know you've got to split your time between, being a mom, being dad, and taking the kids, taking here and there. So
doing all the things.
How does that work as far as when you're trying to tour when he's on tour? Do you have to hire babysitting?
I have to figure out, like, if kids can't miss school, like with Virgil, he's 15, he's a freshman in high school. So I maybe will, like, some of his friends, he'll stay at his friend's house and they'll take him to school. It'll be on a weekend, a long weekend or something. Or usually it's scheduled around school breaks, and I'll just bring him with me. And Leela's in second grade, so I can just bring her with me wherever. And they're both amazing travelers. I mean, they've been doing it their whole lives, and they don't complain. Like Leela even loves it. Like she even has a blast. Like going into new venues, and she helps move with merch like Virgil did when he was little. Like she'll bring the merch box in and she'll set it up on the table and participate in some way. So they're part of it, and they know they're part of it, which I think is probably a good idea. So that they feel like they're a part of it, and it's not something maybe they resent later that takes their mom away from them.
Have they picked up music at all? Like, are they playing anything?
Absolutely. Well, Virgil has been a drummer since he was little, since he was like 2.
I do remember videos of that now that you say that.
Yes, and then he took piano lessons, and he plays piano and drums. And Leela May has been taking piano lessons for a year and a half, and it plays by ear and kind of freaks me out sometimes when she I came back from a session one time where I was singing backup vocals. I picked her up from school, and that was my part was stuck in my brain, so I was just kind of humming it and singing it. And when we got home, she went straight to the piano and plunked out the notes without having to find them, without having to find the right keys. She went straight to the piano and played the melody that I had been singing for the last 10 minutes.
It's not fair.
I was like, my jaw hit the ground, and I took a video of it and sent it to like the people who I was in the studio with earlier. I'm like, look at this. This is crazy. And then recently she started coming and singing a song or two with me when I perform and when she's around.
I saw somebody posted something about the Chipmunk song.
Yes.
I missed that.
Yes.
That would have been cool.
She's done that a couple times. She did it at what is it, Midtown? It used to be the Listening Room in Grand Rapids.
Yes,
it's called
something else.
Midtown Music or something.
Like that,
Midtown, I think. We can just call it Midtown.
I'll look it up later.
And she came up and sang the Chipmunk Christmas song with me.
Sweet.
And then she did that again a couple days ago when we did this benefit for a youth organization in Cadillac, my hometown. And she did it again, and it was, awesome. It's so fun to get to sing with your child, and like she can hold her note. I can sing harmony.
Nice. Do you and Dominic plan to record another record together or some more songs together? Maybe include the kids as like background musicians?
Oh man, do you know I've got this like ultimate dream of like having a band with Dominic on bass, and then my brother Zach on guitar and harmonies, and Virgil on drums, and then Leela can play keys, and we can sing. I have this vision in my mind of this family band, but who knows if it'll ever happen.
I will wait patiently for it.
It would be amazing.
Rachael Davis is here on Acoustic Alternatives. We're at Grove Studios in Ypsilanti, Michigan, and there's a Banjo Fest coming up at the Arc on the 27th of January. So we're going to have another banjo song. I'm not sure I'd ask you whether you wanted to do 3 or 4 today.
I think you said 3.
3 or 4.
Or 4. 3 or 4. And you said you could do 3 if you're in a hurry.
That's exactly what I said.
Technically, I'm not in a hurry. I know where I'm going next.
Okay, good. What song would you like to play?
Can I do a cover? Is that cool?
I think so, as long as it's well, the traditional ones, the ones that are public domain are easy to get away with for sure.
Okay.
What song are you considering?
Well, there is a Cat Stevens song that I play on the banjo.
Oh. Well, I don't think. Let's just find out.
Okay, all
if
right.
I get in trouble, we'll pull it down.
All right. Okay. Cool.
No one's getting us in trouble for this. Yusef, be cool. All right.
Yusef, I hear he's a very peaceful dude.
He rode the peace train at one point.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
He got off the peace train.
That's exactly what I mean. I'm referring to that. This is a Cat Stevens song that. So my dad and I do this banjo challenge thing back and forth. That we'll pick out songs for each other that are not traditionally banjo songs, and challenge the other to turn it into a clawhammer banjo song. And like this one year, my dad challenged. He said, "I think that song, that Cat Stevens song, The Wind, would be an amazing clawhammer banjo song." And I was like, "Wow, it just lays out there perfectly." And so. I sat down to figure it out, and it just flopped right out. And then I think maybe like a couple of months later, I heard Sarah Giroux's version of it, like exactly the same. Like, I don't know, maybe it was in the wind or something. Oh, and also, too, the song that I had challenged my dad to learn on clawhammer banjo that time, when he gave me this beautiful song, was that song Axel F from Beverly Hills Cop. Yeah. And you should hear my dad play that on clawhammer banjo. It's insane.
I would like that.
I have to take a video and post it because I talk about it all the time. Anyways, this is The Wind by Cat Stevens.
Beautifully done. They win the Cat Stevens track there, performed by Rachael Davis on Acoustic Alternatives. Grove Studios in Ypsilanti is where we're doing this recording. Just about a month, a little less than, from the date February, I keep saying February, January 20th. I'm skipping January altogether, apparently.
Most of us would like to, I think.
Yeah, it's cold. January 27th at the Ark, the night before the actual Ann Arbor Folk Festival that happens at the Hill Auditorium. This is a very special event that is headlined by Valerie June. Tao of Tao and Get Down, Stay Down is one of the other acts. And Yasmin Williams, who I just watched a Tiny Desk concert play guitar. Whoa.
Unbelievable.
Like, I like to hear her play banjo, but I don't know, there's no videos of her playing banjo.
It's insane. She might, yeah, I'm sure she I think I did see a video of her playing banjo.
I didn't have enough time to seek that deeply.
Her guitar playing is really like percussive and melodic and like incredible.
I actually wanted to share the video with Willie Porter because it reminded me a little bit of...
totally.
Yeah, like I will at some point because Willie's a previous guest on the podcast and the radio show and all the other things. He's a great guy. But,
yes, that's a good call. Yeah, it was very Willie Porter-esque.
It was like, he would appreciate this.
Yeah.
And those who are appreciating Rachel's banjo playing today, you would appreciate that last check from an email from the Ark earlier this week. It says, few tickets remain. So if you're thinking
it's
about...
going to sell out.
It's going to sell out. If you're thinking about going to the show, this is probably your time to go, yeah, I should probably commit, not wait till the last minute.
Yeah.
It's one of those, like, there's only 400 seats. So
right.
And it helps the Ark. It is a fundraiser for a great music venue, one of the best venues in the town, for sure, and definitely in the world. You've played a lot of places, and don't say it just because that's the sponsor. Where are some of your favorite places to play?
Well, Club Hassim, of course, in Boston. I love playing there. Let's see. I like playing the when Shout Sister Shout played the Woody Guthrie Festival in Okemah, Oklahoma. There's an old theater in downtown Okemah, Oklahoma that's a stage for the festival. And I don't know what it was about that place, but it was very vibey and it was a really wonderful place to play. Let's see, Gopherwood. Cadillac, of course, my home spots. But the Ark, of course, is an institution. You know, it's it's legendary. You know, like the people it's been around so long, and the people that have played there, and it's until recently, actually, it was one of the few places that I would play, and like I would get to the level of excitement that could even be equivalent to nervousness. It was like, so I say it was the last place I still got nervous to play. But I've since evolved away from that feeling. I'm always just really excited to play there. Like, it feels like a real show at the Ark.
Now that you're in Nashville, I know there's some legendary venues down there. Have you played the ones you've wanted to play since you've moved there?
Oh yeah, of course. And in Nashville, the two places I play in town, because I don't play in town very often, just because there's so many other people playing in town.
A little competition, yeah.
But the two places that I still play in town are the Bluebird Cafe,
of course, which
I love there because everybody there is so nice, and the Station Inn. The Station Inn, what the heck do they call it? Like the first church of bluegrass or something like that. It's like, it's been around since the 30s. Actually, it was on the Chitlin circuit. It was a blues club in the 30s, and then it evolved into a place where they play bluegrass, and they still are keeping it traditionally bluegrass.
Nice.
And I'm playing there again in March, and I'm bringing my family band down. Lake Effect is coming down to play.
I still have never seen Lake Effect.
Well, maybe you should come to the Station Inn on March 2nd.
Maybe. Sure. That sounds fun. I need somebody to show me around Nashville next time I come, though.
Oh, well, you know my number.
I do. I really enjoyed my visit with you when I was there. That was actually the highlight of the trip, quite honestly. And then seeing a show at, I think it was, 11th and Lindley, 5th and Lindley?
Oh, yeah. Third and Lindsley.
Lindsley. I enjoyed that venue. It was fine.
Third and Lindsley.
This was good. Like, okay, there's an experience that I can remember.
It's like a club.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
So the banjo is not, again, we're going to revisit something we said earlier, not your primary instrument, but you do play it fairly frequently.
Yeah.
Is there, now that you're doing this Banjo Fest, thoughts in your head like, maybe I should do a banjo-only album and invite some of my friends to, like Jen Siggett, who's actually the one who helped me remember how to spell your name properly when I first was discovering you. And I can't find her online.
A-E-L.
Right, A-E-L.
Thanks, Jen.
There are other Rachael Davises, and this was years ago.
I think I've done that for her, too, with her last name.
Yeah, I'm sure you have. And she plays banjo. It would be cool to have like her included. But like that concept of a banjo album was maybe some of your Michigan friends and other banjo playing friends?
It's definitely been a conversation of several years ago. I did a track on there was a Mark Hurd tribute album.
I bought it because you're on it.
And I did a track with the North Mississippi All-Stars. And the way that I learned the song was to play it on the banjo. And it was a minor. I was going to just sing it. And we were in the studio. We were trying to figure out a way to arrange. We're trying to figure out an arrangement. We're trying to arrange it. And Luther Dickinson playing slide guitar. Phil Madero is playing rhythm guitar and trying to figure out how it could work. Dominic was playing bass, actually. And we were struggling of trying to figure out what way we were going to do it. And Dominic was just like, well, Rach learned the song. She learned how to sing it by playing the banjo. And I just brought all my instruments because I didn't know what was needed, what they were going to need. And they were like, well, let's hear it, let's hear it. And so I got out the banjo and I just started playing it, and that became the arrangement. Mm-hmm. And so I'm playing like this minor clawhammer blues banjo on this track, and then they just kind of laid the sound around it. And after that, it's one of my most favorite studio projects I've ever done, just because it was like everybody was just on the ball, and the song that we got to, the track that came out of it was just, I love it. Like, it's one of my favorite things I've ever recorded. And after that, there has been many actually conversations with Luther Dickinson about the possibility of a banjo blues album and Davis Dickinson banjo blues album. So it's out there somewhere.
Cool.
And I hope that it does come to fruition, because I sure do like that idea.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
This might not be the most appropriate thing to bring up, because I'm not.
Well, I love inappropriate.
I know. Banjo has a bad rep. It does.
It sure does.
I mean, we're going to get to something else in a second.
Thanks a lot, Hollywood.
I know. There's a game you probably don't play because you have young kids. It's called the Misery Index. And it's a card game, and it has like 0 to 100, and there's these situations, and you have to decide if it's between X and Y, and they're numbered. And
I do not know this game, and I am upset that I have never heard of this game, because it sounds like something that I would like.
It's fun. I played it yesterday, and so the reason this is coming up is because one of the cards, it has all these situations like, stung in the mouth by a bee, or stuff like. Some of them are really gross, like diarrhea dipped banana.
Yeah.
Where does that fall in the Misery Index? So the card that caught my attention yesterday was. It was either sleeping. No, it was inappropriate. Something like sleeping with your sister, or sleeping with your sibling, or married your sibling.
Incest.
Essentially, that's what it was.
Okay.
But the picture on the card was two banjos. Two banjos. That's what the card.
Synonymous with incest.
That's what I'm saying. Like, wait a minute.
It's because of Hollywood. I tell you, it's all because of freaking Deliverance and that crazy incest. Scary dude playing the banjo on the porch, but that was bluegrass banjo.
Yeah,
that was not clawhammer.
But you must know some good banjo jokes.
Oh my God! There's a website that is banjokes.com, and there's like 5,000 plus banjo jokes on there. And every banjo joke is interchangeable with accordion, and so the banjokes.com has this little extra page with accordion jokes, but. Yes. Well, when I tell the story of learning to play banjo, how difficult it is, I mentioned that there's this broad misconception that banjo players are not intelligent. And for example, my favorite banjo joke is, how can you tell when the stage is level? When the banjo player is drooling out of both sides of their mouth.
Yes, I know that.
And I bring up the fact that after learning clawhammer, I realized that doesn't have anything to do with the level of intelligence of the banjo player, but the level of concentration it takes to play the bum diddy rhythm, the clawhammer rhythm on the banjo. Yeah. You can't think about anything else. I definitely drooled when I was learning, and it wasn't because I had an IQ of 70. It was because this is hard.
Absolutely.
But I also tell this story. I start out where it sounds like it's my story. I say that I was on tour, one summer before I had kids, I was playing concerts in the park, and I played the show outside Detroit, and I went to DIA on my day off, and I stopped at the Detroit Institute of Arts and to see the Diego Rivera mural because I love it. And on my way out of town, I stopped at a gas station right near there and went inside to get some beverages for the road. And while I was waiting in line, I realized that I'd left my windows of my car open and my banjo was in my back seat. And I was like, oh my God. I was freaking out, I'm like, something bad is going to happen. And I ran outside to go check on my banjo, and there were 2 more banjos on the back seat. So I almost got you, didn't I?
Yeah.
Sounds like a real story. I was just lying the whole time.
It's a good story.
To set up the joke.
I don't remember the joke. I know Siggett told me when that involved dumpsters, and I don't remember that.
Oh, yeah. Well, the definition of perfect pitch is when you throw the banjo in the dumpster and it lands on the accordion.
That's it.
And what's the difference between banjo and onions?
I don't know.
Nobody cries when you chop up a banjo.
Look these jokes up, folks. They're out there.
There's so many.
If you want to laugh like we're laughing, please do so. One of your other skill sets, besides playing instruments and your beautiful voice, is the photography that you post on your Facebook posts. It's amazing.
Whoa, thanks. Holy cow. I don't get that a lot.
Because you are a great photographer. That could be a little side hustle if you're...
I really like doing it. I don't just do it mindlessly. I pay attention to whatever. I took classes in high school and I know what composition is or whatever.
Did you really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you could do that as a side gig. When you're busy trying to be a parent, you can squeeze that in when you're not.
I like to do it. I make
For money, though.
For money. Not as just a hobby.
No, like to actually post your art and have people pay you for it.
That's a good idea. I'm going to think about that, Bommarito.
I'm always trying to help.
I like that. I'm like Kramer over here with all these side hustles.
The Banjo Fest happens on the 27th of January at the Arc. It includes Valerie June, Yasmin Williams, and Tao. I think that's how she says her name. I'm going to get it right one of these times. Tao and the Get Down, Stay Down was her original band, and they're all playing banjos. Have you guys pre-discussed what you're playing so you don't play how do you know you're not going to play the same songs?
I have no idea. We have not discussed it yet, but maybe we could get an email thread going.
I think you should, because you're probably all going to play Angeline the Baker.
Yeah, probably. But there's so many, I'm sure, I know like 200 banjo tunes, so I could just pick and just play whatever anybody else doesn't.
This is a perfect opportunity for me to say, how about one more, and then I'll let you get back to your family.
Okay, I'll play one more for you.
What you got?
How about another? Let's see. I'm gonna tune down to a sawmill tuning here.
Can you tune and talk?
Yeah, no, I can't actually.
Okay.
Can't anymore.
Okay. Pandemic took that away.
Another one of my performance jokes. I just tuned to D modal here. Let's see. This song is called If I Were a Featherbed, and I know versions of it. My dad played it. This was a song, the story, the legend is that this was a song my dad was playing when he met my mom the first time at a music party on Foster Street in Lansing, Michigan in the late 70s. And I know versions of this song by John McCutcheon and by Sally Rogers, and I'm not exactly sure of the origin of it. Well, I probably have to look that up. It's called If I Were Featherbed. It's just called Featherbed. Where is it? There it is. I haven't played it in a while. If I were a feather bed, all in your house so fine, I'd hold you tight, all in my arms, keep you warm in the winter wonderful will I be wearing you. And if I were an old wool rug, or sitting in your front hall, I'd tickle your feet to make you laugh if you stepped on me at all. And if I were an old banjo, fast fingers on my strings, I'd play the sweetest little song that a banjo ever did sing. If I were a drop of rain, trickling down your chin, I'd run right up and I'd kiss your lips, and I'd kiss them twice again. And if I were a breath of wind on your cheeks as you pass by, I'd pick you up upon my back, and I'd teach you how to fly. But I am not the wind nor the rain, nor the rug in your front hall. The whole world's countless loves can't match my love for you at all.
Featherbed, Rachael Davis on Acoustic Alternatives in Grove Studios in Ypsilanti. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
When you were introducing it, I was remembering my youth included, driving around in the Chrysler LeBaron that my mom had, an 8-track player in there.
Yeah.
And constantly it was Simon Garfunkel's greatest hits, but also John Denver was a regular. And there's a song of his called Grandma's Featherbed.
Oh, yeah.
Which popped in my head as soon as you said Featherbed. I'm like, Grandma's Featherbed.
It's very different than that one, though.
Very much faster and funny.
In Grandma's Featherbed.
That's right. 5 feet high and
Yeah.
6 feet wide and soft as a downy chick.
Yep.
Wow, that came back to me. All right.
It was made with the feathers of a quarter-living geese and a little bit right?
You should learn that one.
Maybe I know it somewhere in my brain.
You apparently do. So, 2 quick questions before we end this. One involving the fact that you are not the only Rachael Davis on the internet. The other one who actually spells her name the same as you.
There is another one.
Australian children's book writer.
Yes.
Perhaps you should screw the world up by doing a children's album and then really screw people up because they'll look for her and they'll find you.
And it'll be like, oh my God, there's 2 children's authors named Rachael Davis.
Not an author, but write an album of children's songs.
You know, I had somebody the other day tell me that album, my studio album from 2008, Antebellum Queens, that they put it on for when their kids were babies. They would put it on for them in the evening, and it would put them to sleep. And I have had lots and lots of people tell me that about that album. Like it was like this wonderful, soothing album that their kids loved.
It is a
their
great
babies
album.
like it.
And Leela May's in the house. The other Leela May. But,
Yeah. the Leela May II.
That's right. And the other question involves similarly something you should do, because you mentioned in previous interviews that your dad gave you Louis Armstrong, Ella
Yes,
Fitzgerald,
yes.
not Billie Holiday, Sarah Vaughan.
Sarah Vaughan.
But you've also mentioned John Coltrane. So there's this jazz thread in your
Yes.
life. And so why is there not I know a ton of people have already done those songs.
Yes.
But
I've
your voice-
not done the standards. I did the Shout Sister Shout
Yeah.
thing. I guess there were standards on that one.
There were, but this is more like everyone thinks of standards, and a lot of those people did those things.
Yes.
And it seems like that voice of yours and that music would be,
That is my default voice. I feel like
yeah. So there should be an album.
the Bandbox Jubilee is new songs in the old style.
Yeah.
It's like that. But it's true. I do not have an album of standards.
You need to I just want people to pay more attention to you, and whatever it takes, even if it is doing a covers album, and then they find your other stuff. Like, I want people to go, holy crap, who is the singer? So
I think it just takes somebody like an artist manager and a publicist. I think that's all I need at this point.
Okay, well, you've been at it a while.
I don't have those things.
I just feel like you should be. And it's not for lack of talent. And obviously, I believe in you because I keep inviting you back, and I keep
I've been
praising
doing
you.
this a long time.
You have been.
I mean, you mentioned the Ann Arbor Folk Fest in 2003. That was that was 20 years ago.
Oh, pretty much, yeah.
It was.
It was, yeah.
It's about to be.
Yes.
20 years.
So
What's happening?
Public, pay attention.
Come on.
This is an amazing talent. And
Come on, hit the pavement.
I'm so glad that you had time on your trip home for Christmas to spend time with me today.
Thanks, Bommarito.
I hope
I'm glad I could be here.
I hope it's a great time at the Ark on the 27th. Look for those final tickets that are only available through, I think, theark.org and the Michigan Union Ticket Office. If I'm not
nice.
correct. So find those now, and I wish you a happy new year.
Yes, you too.
I look forward to visiting with you another time.
Maybe on the 27th.
Maybe. Check out those tickets. And again, thank you for listening to Acoustic Alternatives or watching it, whichever you're doing. I look forward to having a sponsor at some future point so I can have two cameras again and having people shoot at the instrument while the instrument is playing and the singer is singing.
That would be
and
cool.
not just both of us doing what we're doing at the same time. Because then you can't see when I do something like drink my water.
Exactly.
Because I would like you to not see that. But
But we do this for you, folks.
we do this for you.
This
All
is
right.
all for you.
Not sure who's next. I've been asking somebody to come on, and she said yes, and then hasn't said sure.
When.
Yeah, when. So we'll get to that hopefully as my next one. But thank you again to Rachael Davis,
course.
all the way from Nashville or Cadillac.
I'm
today.
glad this worked out.
Me too. Look for more Acoustic Alternatives episodes soon. Thanks a lot.